Welcome to Virtually Redundant, a light-hearted weekly podcast about tech and pop culture. My name is Connor, and I'm joined today by my buddy Daniel and my pal Darren. How's the forum, lads?
Pretty good. Actually, funny enough, this week I was looking into about reading up about issues with integrating lots of different IoT or Internet of Things, if people don't know, components, and I actually stumbled upon this new smart brush that was released this week, and the reports are the sales are amazing. Apparently, the smart brush is sweeping the nation. So, I couldn't resist. Darren, how was your week?
Yeah, my week was pretty good. I don't really have any tech news, but my daughter, who's 14 months old, she slept through the night like 5 days ago, and I've kind of just been riding that high all week. So I feel pretty damn good.
Our first topic today is around, you have these big enterprise software companies trying to sell software to each other, but they seem to think that it's appropriate to do so through, memes, all sorts of, trying to be hip with cool kids, but they're not really selling to the cool kids. So I'm not even sure what their plan is. Have you come across this on LinkedIn or anywhere else recently?
I personally, from my own personal experience, I do get emails occasionally, just random companies emailing myself on my company, the place I work for email, and yeah, they're kind of. I don't know if they're. You see, this is the question you need to ask. Like the younger generation is getting to points where they're kind of getting high up into obviously the big multinationals now. So are they hitting the right target now? Are they starting to hit the right target, or maybe they're just grasping at straws? I don't know. I just know that I don't make the business decisions in my company, so I just throw them into the trash can.
You really have to wonder if they're just like these marketing people in these companies are just like using Internet Explorer, and they're accidentally like looking at websites from like 10 years ago or something, and they're like, oh guys, there's this new thing called a donk meme. Have you ever heard of this? And then they're just kind of posting what they find on like a 10-year-old Reddit account or something like that.
Would also be though around like trying to stand out, because originally it was just kind of you get this type thing, it's a sales pitch about a product that they want to sell you, where if you saw something different, you're more inclined to you're more inclined to see, okay, it catches your attention and it stays in your mind longer, and that's what they're trying to do mainly. Like once it stays there, you might later on when you're discussing a particular product, you might go, oh, I saw an email before, I remember these guys trying to be hip and cool with their maymays and all, and then you suddenly go, oh well, maybe we should look at their product. It could be just in relation to that. Like, I don't know, I'm not a marketer.
You raise a good point, fellas, and I suppose having kind of worked in the industry myself and kind of seen how kind of communications get sent out, maybe it starts off as something that is hip and cool, and then by the time it goes through several approval workflows and up to a director or senior VP or something like that, maybe they do what they think was hip and cool 15 years ago.
Or maybe it's like a VP that asks their teenage kid what is hip and cool, and the teenager kid is just trolling their father and be like, oh yeah, totally, pogs are back, yeah, let's do a whole thing about pogs or something like that.
I think it might. I think Connor kind of mentioned it. Is that the approval process for these kind of have to go through various layers to make sure there's nothing kind of that might have an adverse effect on their company's image by using a meme that actually has a hidden undertone. So by the time you get it out, you're kind of like SNES cool kid, high collar, sunglasses type thing. You know what I mean?
I think probably what sticks with me most is the ads that are incredibly annoying. Like the stuff that you look at and you're like, if I see this like kind of advert one more time, I'm gonna scream. And then when you go out and you're like wanting to do something, you're like, you know what, I'm going to buy that product because it's literally stuck in your head constantly, rather than like an old, outdated, I guess, kind of thing for me.
So your logic is that the ad, it's nearly so bad that it's good.
I guess it's yeah, 100%.
Like once it sticks in your mind, they kind of did their job, because like in one regard, like obviously buying the product is the ultimate goal for any type of marketing, but if it's in your head and you're more inclined to talk about it, like some of the best marketing is not so much that it can be bad in how bad the actual material is, but it did the job well because it got everyone talking about it. Some of the best marketing strategies, and I don't know if we're going to go to the way where like this is going to be all TikTok videos now for advertising.
pretty much. Also, it's like, imagine you were like doing something in finances, and you had an ad with someone like from, I don't know, like a 70s rock band or a 60s rock band in the ad, and a lot of people are like, how does this relate to anything with finances? And people would talk about it constantly for the next few weeks, and they're like, that's all I could think about when I want to do anything like financial related, because you're just so dumbfounded by why they made that ad the way they did it, that you're just going to go with that company.
We all remember the Halifax ad from the noughties, who gives you extra, No, just me.
Just you.
I'm afraid.
They did their job on me.
Yeah, we're good you signed up with Halifax. Like, they're not even in this country, but well done.
I specifically opened up a UK account to get their services.
I suppose, yeah, we will probably see some new examples of these shortly. So there's a big event, I believe, happening in America. None of us are Super Bowl fans, but usually there's a lot of money spent on their ads. So I'm sure we'll see some awkward or confusing advertisements that maybe, who knows, maybe it is all part of a greater, grander strategy, to just confuse the audience into purchasing the product.
Yeah, I think for the ad space, I think I think I read it before, like 30 seconds is like, like 7 million or something like that for 30 seconds. So for a single ad, and there's now I think over there's more ads going on, especially in normal shows, not necessarily Super Bowl. Like, you have 2 ads, where over here in the UK and Ireland you have just 1 ad per break. So, but I think 77 million for a 30-second slot in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's a lot of money that probably could have paid for a lot of jobs, but tech companies work in mysterious ways. And just kind of, I suppose, leading that, kind of moving into kind of our next topic, working, in any kind of industry, you're going to come up against stuff that really kind of winds you up, or, to use a Family Guy expression, grinds your gears. So off the top of your head, what's the one thing kind of with technology or the tech industry in general that really winds you up? For me, it's the amount of advertisements on modern YouTube. So I know when I click into a YouTube video, I will not pay for that YouTube premium subscription out of spite at this point, just because of the amount of adverts come up. So I think you watch a few when you start, someone's about to deliver a punchline mid-video, and then it just cuts to an ad. And for me, I think, that's one thing that really gets to me. And at this stage, I've kind of, I don't know, I feel like I'm sticking it to YouTube by not signing up for their premium subscription. But what's it for you?
For me, then I think it's going on your point with the ads, is that they have their ads, like they could have 2 or 3 or 4 ads, and who God knows how many ads. But then the YouTubers themselves will have ads in it, and that's why of course they need to raise money, and they need to be funded for their account, and that's of course. But it's just annoying, because in the normal YouTube ads you wait 5 seconds and you can skip, or God forbid you have to watch the whole thing. But my God, in the other ones you don't know where to skip to, so you're kind of going, God damn it, where do I need to go to? No, I don't care about this product. I'm not going to get this product. It's only available in America. They're giving you like food, like send you food items and stuff like that. Like it's not available over here in Europe. So I don't need this ad, but it's just incredibly annoying. And then there's the whole, the thumbnails of every YouTube video just annoys the living bollocks out of me now. It does. Like the red arrows and shocked face, and then you look at it and go, like, there's an arrow going, 10 things you didn't know about the Avengers that will shock you, and there's a red arrow pointing like Thor's chest, and you're like, what's about Thor's chest? And you watch the video, it's not about Thor's chest at all.
Or it's something so damn obvious that you're like, did you even watch the show? It's like, you won't believe this fact about like Loki, and it's like, Loki was Thor's brother, and you're like, yes. Did you watch it? Like, or Loki was adopted, and you're like, yeah. Did Ed know? But did you not even watch the first Thor movie? Like, it's so damn obvious. But I guess that's where they kind of pull you in, or like, you won't believe what happens next, and then someone's like throwing a ball at a window, and just the window smashes, and you're like, no, I can believe that. I think that seems like a likely outcome.
For any of our listeners who for some reason have been living under a rock, apologies for the spoilers.
Oh God.
We would like to apologize to anyone actually living on a rock that this was not using a derogatory term. There we go. Got it in the end.
Yeah, rock livers were not insulting you.
We understand everyone has a different way of life, and rock livers are just as valid as anyone living in a house.
And if they want to watch Thor now and and see it, then go watch Thor now. Apologies for everyone if THs are a bit weird with Irish language because I say Thor.
Thor. And third. Yeah, like first, second, third. just get that out of the way for any thirds out here.
Yeah. No, that does grind my gear. Definitely the YouTube like shock and awe value, I guess, marketing is just I kind of refuse to watch those videos. Or sometimes I actually do click as a guilty pleasure just to see, are they just pulling my strings, or are they kind of actually going to show me something interesting?
And I suppose maybe the fact that using the big thumbnails and that kind of very simple words and those titles, they're obviously doing it because it works, and maybe the majority of the work market is on a phone these days. So if people are scrolling through, their equivalent platforms, that just, it's more enticing to click into that than something that says, the history of computing, or live from Parliament today, or whatever it might be. It's a lot more interesting to say, I got 100 people to jump in a circle for 5 days.
I like the thing that kind of I like I hate using the kind of slippery slope argument, but I kind of want to use it for this. Is like, where does this kind of end with people kind of shock and awe you? Is like, is it going to be a thumbnail with like a middle finger and be like, you won't believe what the president said next, and it's just like a middle finger or something like that, and then it's like, no, he didn't give a middle finger. He just cut taxes or something like that, and it's just like, but what about the middle finger? And it's like, oh, that's just something else. don't pay attention to that.
The middle finger to the lower income. Not to get that.
I'd argue, are we not already there?
Where?
Well, with people using thumbnails that are completely unrelated to their videos for shock and awe value.
Oh yeah.
And then people keep watching for the first minute or two to try and see where this thing is going to happen, and then it never does.
I agree. There was a video advertising celebrity Dancing with the Stars for Ireland, and I watched 30 minutes of it, and there were no celebrities.
Hey, where are my celebrities? You reported to RTE. False advertisement, please.
The cast of Fair City are sending me very angry emails.
Well, I guess one podcast in, and we're probably going to get a cease and desist. So I think that's a world record right now.
We're doing well. We're doing well. So on that bombshell, we'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. So thank you for rejoining us here. We're just going to dive in now a little bit to talking about some kind of entertainment media topics. But one of our panelists has a bit of a protest argument. So Darren, if you'd like to go ahead.
Do you know what really grinds my gear is that when I don't get to have my grind my gear segment, like Daniel just talking total crap for like 5 minutes, taking up all the podcast. It's like, oh yeah, okay, that was very good. Yeah, all good and all well done. And then it's like, Darren, oh yeah, we forgot about Darren. Ah, well, it's fine. That bloody grinds my gear. Where's my grind my gear?
I don't know. It might resonate with a lot of people.
I think that's a very niche topic there.
If you think you'd like to hear my grind my gear, send an email to virtuallyredundant@gmail.com.
And so with that, so just to lighten the mood a bit, since we've been just talking about angry stuff that winds us up. Has anyone kind of, I don't know, watched, read, played anything, or enjoyed anything recently that you'd maybe recommend to our listeners? Or failing that, maybe found something interesting or hilarious for the wrong reasons?
So I saw a movie the other week called The Wandering Earth. Have you ever heard of it?
But I'm interested already by the title.
So basically, the sun is kind of messing up, right? And the Earth's going to probably be destroyed after like a couple of 100 years. So what they decide to do is just add all these thrusters onto Earth and just basically move the Earth to another solar system.
Okay. Do go on.
So the Earth starts, wandering, hence the wandering Earth. But then, like, something goes wrong, and it basically starts to head towards Jupiter, and it's just about them not getting the Earth consumed by Jupiter.
Is this a sci-fi original?
I thought you were going to say, "Is this a sci-fi?" And I was like, "No, Connor, it's an actual factual documentary about what happened."
Oh wow.
Actually, it's a Netflix
Oh,
film.
Netflix, right? So the modern version of the Sci-Fi Channel.
I mean, for me, it was so stupid, but it was a guilty pleasure for me, because it's like, okay, this is so, like, the amount of effort it would require to install like 1,000, like, basically, like, thrusters onto Earth just to start moving it across the solar system, and then, like, the amount of fuel you would actually
Greenhouse
need is
gases.
just ridiculous. But it's a silly movie, and I like it. It was a guilty pleasure.
11 out of 10 would recommend, is it?
I'm assuming by the end of it, it's still wondering. Like, if you haven't, like, I mean, a couple of thousand years, or actually probably about 50, 60,000 years when you get to a new solar system, there's a lot of content in 50,000 years of wonder and Earth.
Well, there's a lot of places you can wander in the galaxy, so I'm assuming there might be like several movies, maybe. I don't know, but it's based on a short story, so they could milk this for like
The
10
Fast and the
movies.
Furious model. I like it.
To Wandering Earth
Fast
9.
and Furious 11, The Wandering Earth. It's like, what the fuck is this? Where's this going? I mean, it's not. We're not far from there looking at the Fast and the Furious movies, to be really honest.
Well, it's the next Fast and the Furious, just about them taking a car and pushing the Earth away from the sun.
Well, rocket ships and stuff is, it's not outside the realm of possibilities in the Fast and Furious universe.
Interesting.
And why are they furious?
Well, why don't you tell us? Why are they furious?
I know I haven't seen a single one.
Same. I can't get invested if there's like 10 movies of something. It's just like, do I have to watch the other 10 to watch the 11th one, or what? What's the situation? Can I just jump in the middle? Will I get confused?
Boy, I can't wait to tell you about the MCU.
Oh, don't get me started on that. I cannot sink any more time into Marvel movies. Like, I was actually chatting the other day, and do you know the way in the Endgame where it's or in Infinity War where Spider-Man says, "I don't feel so good," right? Everyone remembers that's the. Don't worry, it's not spoiling anything. But Spider-Man at one point says, "I don't feel so good," and I made that joke the other day to my daughter, and I actually began thinking to myself, for her to understand that joke, she'd have to watch like 20 movies before it.
Point, yeah, that's quite an investment.
Or for you to actually like make a joke, my boy.
So, Daddy, I don't understand. Here, let me just stick on Iron Man, and we'll go from there.
Was Iron Man the first one?
Yeah, and then they did the Hulk, which they probably kind of forgot about, or yeah.
Don't think that was part of the. Like,
it kind of was.
It was.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if you know, there is a post-credit scene, or there is an end scene in the Incredible Hulk, the original 2008 one, where at the end of it is I think Tony Stark, Iron Man, comes in, like, or Samuel L. Jackson. I can't remember. It's been that long ago, and it was such a crap movie that I think I blocked it out as well.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, there are people born now who like.
There are people born now when Iron Man first came out. Wow, that's very good. Day.
Well, no, just when you think about it, like, there's people there that are saying, "No, there's like classic movies, or like Lord of the Rings," which it is a good movie, but like it's the kind of different demographic. Like, it's just so I don't like it. I don't like time.
I hate to break it to you, but there'll be people born since this podcast comes out.
That's lies.
People might be like conceived during this podcast. We don't know that.
Yeah, sure. Not while I listen to it, surely.
Hopefully not.
Play some jazz right now.
Oh no, this is the best. If you're listening to this podcast and you want the best protective against sex, just listen to this podcast. Yeah, one of the things I was just looking at is actually, do you remember the old Dream Phone games? The Dream Phone electronic game.
Well, you used to live them as a kid, Daniel.
Oh, it's fascinating. It is. I was just looking up it there now. It's €105 for the original one if you want that on eBay.
If you want us to Twitch stream us all playing Dream Phone, please send an email to virtuallyredundant@gmail.com.
Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can barely remember it, but it's just, did you still make it, but it's been rebranded and it's not the original box, which is like, if you want the classic,
Okay, I mean, if I gave you €105 and said we're Twitch streaming this,
yeah, I'd play it, yeah.
and if you'd play it.
Yeah, I'd play it. There's nothing wrong with playing a game. It's a board game, What's wrong with you?
Why don't you tell us the concept of what the game actually is?
So I think the concept is like you get this phone and you get these cards, and then you type in the numbers into this phone, and the phone has all these voices built in. It's a good question. It's like my sisters had it when I was younger, and it's Dream Phone, man. What more do I need to sell it to you?
I remember Daniel used to sneak in and play the game by himself when he was younger.
I got all the boys. It's like Pokemon, right? You got to catch them all.
Oh, someone's listening to this and be like, "Oh, I gotta get this Dream Phone game. I gotta catch up."
You might be overselling it here.
It's like,
please note that we are not sponsored by MB, the creation of Dream Phone.
But if they would like to send us the Dream Phone game today, so we can Twitch stream it, then please do.
And if you would like to sponsor us, please send us an email to us.
virtuallyredundant@gmail.com.
I feel like we're getting into the old marketing game now.
Oh, man,
you won't believe what Daniel did next on Dream Phone.
Yeah, good times. Yeah, I remember that game.
Actually, a video of Daniel drinking a cup of tea for an hour.
Yeah, we should definitely do an AMAR.
AMAR?
Well, what is it? No, it's not an AMAR. What is it?
ASMR you're talking about.
Oh, what's AMAR? Oh, I'll admit on random on legal.
That's two completely different things, Daniel. One is about nice, relaxing, soft sounds to kind of get you. One is about rage screaming at like Rise for not helping you during a battle.
Okay, so with that, we're gonna just kind of move things on from the Dream Phone, and in an ideal world, we'd like to have questions or topics, sent in from listeners, but we don't currently have any. So just to get the ball rolling, I'd like to start. What is one of the strangest things that's happened to you in your professional career? Would you like to tell us, Daniel?
Playing Dream Phone at work. No, sorry. I prefer the most strangest thing that happened. Oh man, that's a good question. I suppose it's a good question. I let Darren go first. You can cut out that part. I'm trying to think.
I think to be honest, maybe not in tech, but I just want to kind of put out there that Daniel here in the gaming industry. So basically, in the gaming industry, people do what's called beta testing, and they do open beta testing, and which means that they kind of release the game to the public, and sometimes they'll only release a set number of keys to the public. Now, Daniel here is kind of maybe not renowned, I'd say, but he definitely has harassed quite a few game developers for beta keys in his time. And some quite popular games out there as well. We're not going to name any companies, but you can imagine just a person just begging the developers of a high-profile game for a beta key. It was quite funny and strange.
It all started on Twitter when a particular game company was saying the first 100, it was a closed beta, so there's only, I think they're only doing like 1,000 keys, and they said the first 100 retweets will get a key, and then everyone else is just random, so 900. And I set by the PC and just waited until they tweeted, and I retweeted, and I was number 7. And they said, okay, all keys have been sent, and I didn't get it. So it started there when I was just constantly emailing the community manager for this particular game saying, where's my beta key? It should be nice to have my beta key right about now. I was number 7 and I sent screenshots, and I basically said I was going to oust them and all that, all that kind of stuff, and eventually gave me my beta key. So pretty sure there was 1,001 beta keys sent out that day, And then from there I realized I can get beta keys if I just, bother them, on Twitter.
And quick question, was the game any good?
No, it's crap.
Was it, so based on, you didn't learn any life lesson there, did you, Daniel? Like, did it?
I spent more time waiting for the game than I spent downloading than I spent playing for it. if you know what I mean. Like waiting, meaning at Twitch, wait Twitter for them to retweet, because they said in the next few hours we will retweet. You need to retweet it. So I was waiting for a few hours. I retweeted it. They downloaded the game. Took like 2 hours, and then I played the game for an hour and it was crap. So I just deleted it.
Yes, that's dedication to the industry right there.
I'm a big fan of MMOs. I love the concept of it, and it's not so much as it's more along the lines of like I like the things are more dynamic when people are involved. So I like playing online games rather than single player games, because generally speaking, there's a level of prediction that you can't be made, like when it comes to AI and stuff. So that's why, and when it comes to MMO and you have a couple of thousand people, it's nice. But this game was just it's crap.
Hey, that's a solid endorsement. It's just as well we're not name dropping this game, if it even still exists.
No, it does, but I won't say it.
Connor, what's the strangest thing that happened to you?
I think my thing is, I remember when we were in college, and there was a popular TV show on the time called The IT Crowd, and you see these kind of, they have these gags about, there being a fire and like people calling IT and stuff like that. And then I was actually working in tech support many years ago, taking phone calls. And I think within the space of the same week, I got one phone call, which was someone telling me their laptop was on fire, what to do. And, when we were trying to tell them to call the fire brigade, it wasn't quite sinking in as their laptop was going up in flames. So I can't even quite remember the outcome of that. I think we might have tried to call the fire department for them or asked them to contact facilities. I can't quite remember.
Facilities on fire. By the way, my house is burning down. Oh, we'll just contact facilities. See what work out a solution for you. maybe go to tier 2 tech support.
Tier 2 might, local IT might get you a fire extinguisher, but not remote support.
Can you give me the?
I was just going to say, and then later that week, then I've also had I got a call from again, someone thinking that IT can solve every problem, and they'd follow the sat nav into a deep dark wood somewhere in Sweden. Obviously, data wasn't available in this deep dark wood in Sweden, so they called IT for assistance and a rescue. Sure, how were we to know where to pinpoint them or where to go? So, we said sorry, we can't help you, and I think we disconnected the call. Actually, I don't know what happened after that.
And the missing person report in Sweden of a
so if you're listening from Sweden and you know of any cold cases, apologies.
One of my ones was I was providing remote support for a particular software that we were providing, and I had to TeamViewer into them, so I had access to their laptop, and they kept just using the laptop while I was trying to use it, and I had to keep telling them to stop. So I was on the phone with them, and they said, okay, to stop, and they stopped for like a minute. And then what happened was I had to stop doing this because I was looking at stuff on my own. So I have 2 monitors, one with the TeamViewer, the other one was doing my research about investigating the issue. And when I started investigating the issue, I looked back and they were looking up, like they were on Facebook talking to someone, and like they were talking about like they left their. It was pretty sad, like because they left their husband. They were living alone in an apartment. And I was like, I had to like type back to. I had to bring up the person that goes, please get off Facebook, please. I'm trying to work. And they were meant to be working too. So.
Yeah, my life is crumbling around me, but Daniel here, he wants me to get back to work. Like, don't ever manage people.
The other one was we were having issues with a particular provider that we had to back up the data and send it to them, and their particular infrastructure just didn't support the amount of data that we wanted to send. So we were all coming up with all these kind of solutions about how we kind of compress the data, and it just put a USB stick in the post and mail.
I mean, that is what AWS Snowball, I think, is. Basically, you can order like a data truck or something to drive up to your office, and then you just like basically plug in your hard drive and they'll just drive it back to the data set.
We should set up a business where like it's a cloud but in a truck, cloud on the go.
What?
Yeah. No, like just we have a big truck, we have a data center in it, and we just drive around.
Your website's down. We're in the middle of Ireland. And...
well, you don't need to say the middle of Ireland. We're in Ireland. Your data's gone.
No, he's driving through a McDonald's drive-through. Just give him 5 minutes. We'll be back.
So yeah, interesting topics, interesting times. before we move on, I don't want to offend Darren again by cancelling his segment. So, Darren, did we forget your segment again, or did you get to go ahead?
Oh no, cancel my segment. I have no. I can't think of any strange story. Like the strangest thing that happened to me was like starting a job where I didn't have anything for a week, so I just sat there staring at my phone for a week.
Fortunately, I think that's
So.
more common than people would think.
Well, screw you, Connor. Give me a laptop.
So with that today, we've talked about, companies trying to be cool or act all cool, maxing out all cool. Some of our experiences from the industry, a bit of general chit chat, and a bit about, I was about to say about hopes and dreams, but it was mainly about Dream Phone, to be honest. But do you have any hopes or dreams for next week?
Are you asking us or to the listeners?
My goal, my life's mission right now is to get Daniel on a Twitch stream with Dream Phone. Like that's my like life's purpose now for the next like several years. Like I my career goal has shifted. Like I want to get a Twitch stream of like a couple of 100,000 people of just watching Daniel and us play Dream Phone.
That's an interesting
just tourney Dream Phone. Totally. I'm gonna do it's gonna be like an official tournament and all. Like we're gonna be in a big stadium.
Pretty sure it's more than one player, so we'd need to get you guys in on it.
Solo stream Daniel playing Dream Phone by himself.
Yeah, the Dream Phone 24-hour marathon. Yeah, he's not allowed to leave the room until he completes the game by himself.
I can't. I don't even know how to play the game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You see,
I'm going to look up the new version of it. Oh, it has text in it in the new version. It's text-based. It's not phone. Like the original one had when you called had voices in it, but this one looks like purely text one.
Well, so like I'm leaving you, LOL.
I ran over your cat, lol.
We do not endorse any of that behavior.
Well, no, but like we're not saying they did it on purpose. People make accidents. People deserve forgiveness. Not everything is intentional.
On that note, I'd like to thank everyone for anyone even did bother to tune in and listen. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to send them in to virtuallyredundant@gmail.com. We'll be back next week with more virtually redundant topics. Thank you for dropping in wherever you are, and we wish you all the best for the week ahead.